Welcome back to the Maven Show. This is your host Rohit. Today we have Erik, the researcher at University of Phoenix and author. Thank you, Erik, for getting into the show.
Oh, very delighted to be here.
Awesome. So I think, would you just like to give a quick intro of yourself first, like how was your experience being as a researcher at the University of Phoenix first, and you are the author of a bunch of books as well, and like the biases all around you and so on. So having a quick intro would be a great thing. Go ahead.
You bet. You bet. So I've been working at the University of Phoenix in a teaching capacity for about 25 years. I'm also the Associate University Research Chair in the Center of Leadership Studies and Organizational Research. And throughout the years, I presented at many international conferences on leadership in business, as well as leadership in individuals. And then I often write books. Most of them, have been in the academic community, but they're also for people from all walks of life. And my latest book is called Bias is All Around You, a handbook for inspecting social media news stories.
Got it. So when you say like biases all around you, so what do you mean by bias? Like if anyone does not know.
So bias, in its simplest form, are various opinions that people have. But the bottom line is, are the opinions based on good information, or are the opinions based on fallacies or false narratives or bad information? So that's what a bias is. We're from the time we're born, we all have biases. We're shaped by our family, our faith, our community, our school, as well as the situations that happen to us in life, and as well as the internet and the media. So whether it's for individual use or for business use, our biases can affect our performance on a day-to-day basis.
Got it. Awesome. And so what would you like to speak about thing, like how misinformation can hurt businesses, like it is hurting businesses, and how the businesses can get like away from those misinformation as well?
Sure. Well, if we apply it to the customer experience principles of promises made, promises kept,
Yeah.
we have to make sure that everybody in the company is on the same page, and that everybody subscribes to the same philosophy. So, but there's two types of promises. There's implicit promises and explicit promises. Those are promises that we know that we make for our business, whether it's in academia that we provide education and scholarships, or if it's in the for-profit world that we provide products and services. What we say we do, we need to do. We need to follow through. And we can't have anybody in any part of the company who's not on the same page, giving misinformation to customers, because as soon as misinformation goes out to customers, it's like a bad trail, because you have to keep putting out the fires, because we don't always have the people in place or the resources to honor those promises. And once the promises are broken, as they say in customer experience, you lose your advocates. You lose your advocates. So that's one way to look at it.
Awesome. So there must be some pillars, like how to keep promises and make your customers become advocates,
Yeah. So, you have to align all of your communications, whether they're on a website, whether they're in a store, in advertising. Everybody in the company needs to know what the communications are, because, from the person in the mailroom to the person who's out promoting and selling products, the communications need to be consistent. So it's all about making sure that everybody in the company is really a part of the leadership, in so much that everybody has a purpose, and because how you treat your customers internally is also part of the customer experience. You need to treat your customers as good internally as you do the prospects that you want to have buy products and services from your company.
That's real. That's real. Like long term, winning them and building trust with them. It is.
building trust and interacting with them. You know, it's not just about the immediate sale. We
Mm,
want to continue marketing to our customers, keeping them engaged
yep.
and draw out those good feelings. And if
Mm,
they like to continue interacting with us, then maybe down the line, they'll make a purchase or use the product or say other good things about our company and organization.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It is. So, so you know, like how to be authentic with customers. That's the number one question. Like each and every single listener should be having, or anyone who has a business, anyone who own a company. You know, like how to be authentic with customers.
So, you know, it's about authentic communication and being honest with your customers. You know, many times businesses, whether they're for profit or nonprofit, we all tend to overvalue our products
Yeah.
because we like our products, right?
Mm,
But if we overvalue our products to the point where we're not able to keep the promises, then our communication isn't authentic. So I think it's just important to know what the strengths of our products and services are, and we also need to be fair to ourselves. What are the weaknesses so that we don't overplay those, right? You know,
mm,
we want to make sure that people are more comfortable and understand what the benefits are. And if there's, you know, I don't want to say drawbacks, but
yeah.
if there's anything that we're not able to deliver, you know, don't focus on that and, you know, keep the customers engaged. The authentic communication process is really about being honest about your products. You know, if you're having an outside firm do some market research or take measurements, make sure you get good data. That, you know, everybody knows that when an in-house firm does market research, the data can be a little skewed because it's in-house, right? So,
Yeah.
but if you have a third party doing the research, that's more authentic because it's a different set of eyes, right? So, but you know, we can't always have a third party to do research because we can't always afford to have that done.
Yeah.
So, but you know, if you look in the news over the past several years, you know, for example, some car companies say that the gas mileage is higher than a car can actually obtain. When
Mm,
that happens and people find out, they lose their trust in the organization, right?
yes.
And so that's a false promise right there. That's a false statement. So again, we all want to stay in business, whether we're for profit or nonprofit, but we need to check ourselves and keep it balanced.
Yep. Cool. For real. So you talk a lot about leadership, you know, so you say a lot about in leadership. So what do you mean by specifically in the servant leadership? Because you talk of things into the servant. So if anyone doesn't know what the servant leadership means and what are the basic types of leaderships as well, and tell the audience, you know, like what are the basic types of leadership and what the servant audience, like servant leadership is all about, you know?
Oh, you bet. You bet. Well, you know what? What I'll do is why don't I just start with the three most well-known leadership types. That's
Uh-huh.
autocratic leadership,
Mm-hmm.
democratic leadership, and something called laissez-faire leadership. So
Uh-huh.
autocratic leaders make all the decisions themselves. They're autocratic. They're idiosyncratic. They're not
Mm-hmm.
interested. You know, I think the autocratic leaders sort of like view that the employees are like robots, right? Then we have the democratic leaders who take an active role in the decision-making process, but you know they do include them. You know they include others and they let others take credit, almost like a transformational
Yep.
leadership style. Laissez-faire have very little involvement in the decision-making process, and you know there's various purposes and reasons why you'd want to have you know those types of leaders. Now, for servant leadership is just a little bit of a different twist. Servant leadership involves um, making sure that you care about your employees to the point, basically, really, where their needs are more important than perhaps your needs. Right? That's servant leadership. And here in the United States, you know, we like to say a very famous saying from a TV show that took
Mm-hmm.
place in the 1960s. I don't know if you've ever heard of the show called Star Trek, But
He did.
or Spock in Star Trek used to have a famous saying he would say on the TV show. He would say, the needs of the many outweigh the few or the one. So the needs of the many. So it's, putting your people first. Let them get the credit.
Yeah.
Be good to them,
Yeah.
and they'll be good to you.
It
I
is.
know, yeah, most of the multimillionaires today, Barbara Cochran of Shark Tank, she believes in obviously treating your employees very well,
Yeah.
because that'll come back to you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Like that's the game of long term, like that's for real.
Yes. Yeah. Investing in your employees, in their well-being. And for the most part, they should deliver back in their performance. This should also help with the customer experience internally, externally, and all contribute to an authentic message that the company wants to display.
Awesome. Any best advice do you have for anyone who is about to be a leader, or who want to become a leader? Because many like young students or probably youngsters, like early 20s and so on, wants to be the entrepreneur, wants to start the business, go into the journey of that. What do you want to say to them?
Well, having your own company, is great, being your own boss, but it also means a lot of work. It means staying up late, and it means that you do everything, right?
Yeah.
And there's advantages. Obviously, when you work for someone else, there's different risks, and companies can go out of business, things can happen.
Yep.
But in order to become a leader, whether you want to be a leader for a corporation or be a leader for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to educate yourself on the
Mm-hmm.
products and services, right?
Yep.
Become very educated. We can do a lot with the internet today. We can learn a
Yeah.
lot about products and services. I like to call it reconnaissance, right?
Right.
Espionage, but over the internet, you can learn a lot of things, and look for role models, and ask questions, and don't be afraid to reach out to become a good leader, because that's really the best way to learn. And I know that that's helped me quite a bit. Right now, my cause has been media literacy, because we've got a lot of problems right now in social networks with misinformation. So my book, Bias is All Around You, is designed for individuals of all walks of life, so that they could learn to separate facts from fiction these days, which is
Yeah.
really hard to do. But getting back to your question, I think everybody has to be a lifelong learner. You've got to be willing to learn, and seek out a coach and a role model to become a good leader. Be authentic. Be authentic, people.
Got it.
And I think that reputation will follow you.
It is awesome. Awesome, 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 Eric. So that's all. Thank you so much for getting into the show and sharing these insights regarding the leadership and building trust with customers, make customers become your advocates and so on. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for being in.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see it. Thank you. And we're here for you any time of the day, and have a great rest of the week.